Also darf ich ein letztes Mal in dieser Saison noch einmal herzlich willkommen heißen und gleich unserem Trainer übergeben. Coach, congrats to the victory, congrats to the qualification for international business. Please tell us some of your thoughts, some of your maybe emotions after this, I think, very, very important victory for all of us.
Yeah, it was important, as you say, and we knew that, but the only way I know to handle important things is to stay calm and to stay focused on what's ahead of us. And of course, we have seen with this group of players that it's not always we can just expect a top performance, but we do everything we can to put on a top performance. And I think, especially the first half, laid the foundation for the result today. I think it was a really good first half under the circumstances and having the importance of the game in the mind. So I'm happy on behalf of the players. I'm also happy for them that they can now have a couple of weeks off, because it's been a roller coaster, this one.
Thank you. Bitte, gerne eure Fragen. Mikrofon wird wie immer gereicht und den Start macht Johannes Bauer ganz vorne. Jetzt war es zu langsam, Thomas.
Yeah, lots of talks about systems. With a bit, the four-back formation today seemed pretty solid. Yeah. And also some players like Marco Tilio, where did that game come from? Yeah. They seem to profit from other systems. How much will you vary in the upcoming season?
Yeah, it of course also depends on the players that we have available. It can be a busy summer. It cannot be a busy summer. Let's wait and see. I think it's difficult for me to set a team right here and right now. I said also when I arrived that my preferred formation is with a four-back line. It also gave us more offensive players on the pitch to start with. And then we have, during the season, found a combination where we could have the ball in a four-back line but defend in a five. But of course we are leaning towards doing more in a four in the future. And that's what I hope we can start off with in pre-season also.
The whole duel right now was decided with set pieces. Especially today, Jakob, who scored his first double, I think. He seemed very, very solid after set pieces the whole spring.
Yeah, and he's probably a little bit underrated because he has a very good technique in headers, and his timing is really good, and we benefit sometimes from most of the teams paying more attention to Nenad and SP in these situations, so it leaves a little bit more space for him. And the guys that analyzed that, they did well from the first game and highlighted where the space will be. So especially the first one, I'm pleased about, especially on behalf of the guys who spend a lot of time to do it, and also have been not under pressure from me, but of course more themselves that we haven't delivered in these areas in the game. So I'm happy on their behalf, and it was good. It was good for him to score 2 goals. I don't know if it had happened before for him to score 2 goals in a game, but it's of course also something we have to talk about when Nossa cannot score in an open goal from that chance in first half. Then we have to rely on the set pieces.
After all, the ticket for the European Cup is the smallest of goals you had all season. I know it's difficult to say, but if there's a grade you would give at least the time you've been here right now, what's that grade gonna be?
Or then it's not much more than acceptable. Of course, there's been ups and downs during the way. We still have to go back and say we started here with a team that was outside of top 6, and there was so much pressure for us to get into that top 6 to start with, and then the pressure of also succeeding with European competition. We have done that now, so that's probably acceptable, but I'll not say much more than that, because I think there's been some lows also on the way that's I will not say they were not expected, but we have hoped that we could cut them off a little bit earlier, so it was not 2-3 games in a row, but only 1. And that's our ambition for next season, that we play 8 good games out of 10, because then we will be in a different position, and then we will have other opportunities. But it's also a season where we could have gone first in the league with a home win here against Sturm. A couple of games into the Meistergruppe, we had the chance to still be in the top of the league with the away game in Lask. So there was definitely these chances on the way, and then the final game in Sturm with a win there, we would have been third in the league, and that's the positive and the negative in one, that we didn't take our chances. We were not close enough to do it, but the positive is that if we do a little bit better, then hopefully that chance will be there again next season, and that's the ambition we have.
Danke, Johannes. Thanks, Johannes. Bitte zu Alex Huber, hat sich jetzt vorher gemeldet, lieber Thomas, Kurier.
So, Coach, I want to ask another question about the system. It looked quite simple. So I heard from a coach, when you don't know what to do, just put a 4-2-3-1 and all the players will know what to do. So when you remember the last weeks, should you have maybe done a little bit more the simple plans?
It reminds me of a good old quote from Cruyff, where he said, when everyone is praying to God before a game, then every football game will end as a draw. So when you say that we could just play 4-2-3-1 and everything is solved, that's too simple, because every game is its own, and every team is different. And of course, my task is to find the best formation. I've not been hiding that we wanted to play 4, but I've also been very clear about that we didn't have the midfielders available, and even today we have to play Gullit as a 6 because we didn't have too many midfielders available. So I took the decision a little bit some time ago and said it's not really something we can do right here and right now because of the players available. But I've also said that it's our preferred system, and then you can change a little bit up front how you press and how the movements will be, but it also allows you to have at least one extra offensive player on the pitch, which I think we benefited from today, especially in the first half, where we created some really, really good moments.
And when you highlight one point that that has to be better, which is the most important point in for the next season, which part of the play, of the coaching, of the team would it be?
Yeah, but it's consistency. It's to not lose the games when you are better than the opponent, but at least get a draw. So in my mind, when I go back and watch the Hartberg game at home out here, we should never lose it. So if you get a draw, okay, we will still not be satisfied, but we have to take the points we can get in every game when we have to. I know we didn't play a good game home against Austria, but the fact is also they didn't create any chances in the game. So that's also a game where you have to take a draw when you cannot win it. And that inconsistency has been with us throughout the most of the season. That's something we have to change. Then I believe that consistency only comes from a clear identity, that players know exactly what to do, and they know exactly what to do in every moment they play. So that consistency we have to give the players with a clear, very clear identity on how we play and what they can expect every time we play.
Dankeschön. Bitte jetzt Thomas Muck in der letzten Reihe.
Coach, from my side, congrats on the W and for the European ticket for next season. In this game, in particular, I had the feeling after around 10 minutes, it was like the engine started. Your game, the game was quite fluent. Yeah. Everything was smooth. What did you change compared to Friday? And where did you see this spark in your game that after 10 minutes, even when Ried had the chances, that everything was just smooth and I never had the feeling that you can lose or draw the game?
No, you never know in football, of course. Yeah, but I agree. It looked much more fluent. The players looked much more calm in their positions and their actions in there, and we had a lot of situations. Also situations that don't develop into chances, but 1v1s or inside the box where we don't get everything out of it. We have looked everything through. I said to the coaches in the bus home from Ried, I said, you can more or less call your families and say there will be a weekend where you will not be home. And that's been the case. We've been looking everything through, and to give you a clear explanation, we actually went back to some of the games we played in preseason. There was a game against Mura I was pretty satisfied about in preseason, and Ried had a little bit of a similar structure. So we tried to use a little bit of our pressing from that game, but also our build-up patterns from that game. And then, of course, with the not too much time to train in between the games, we we try to do our best to show them exactly what it is that we have to go back to and what it is that we have to do. But it took a lot of working hours to find that and looking a lot of games through to find the right structure and also to give the players that clarity and calmness that has to come from me always, that just go in and do your job in this position. That's the only thing I expect. And I think they delivered in terms of that.
And especially in this game, I had the feeling that everything on the pitch there was a unit on the pitch.
Yeah.
Every defender that blocked the ball or made a tackle, there was a unit on the pitch that celebrated. What has changed in the last couple of hours?
Not too much, because that unit has been there since we started. But as I also said to some of your questions in the press conference that we have had so far this season, is that it's also a hurt group of players that have a lot of negative luggage from the past and from this season, where it doesn't take much for them to sometimes go back into these negative habits and doing exactly opposite of what we want to do. So we focused a lot about the start of the game today and said if we have to deliver in this game today, we have to bring a good start to it where we from first second get into the shape and the rhythm we want to be. We cannot use 15 minutes to just play random. We have to do it exactly our way and then see if we could build up the confidence in that. But to be honest, the players are easy to work with, but they have also been a little fragile in this season mentally with all the ups and downs, and especially downs.
In this game, I remember there were 5-6 chances, 1v1s on the wings, or when they won the 1v1, when the cross did not come in. Is that something that you have to work in particular? Because nothing against Ried, but there will be stronger opponents where you have to, and you had the opportunity to kill the game way more earlier. Is that the only point of fair criticism that you said? Yeah, we had to kill it earlier.
Yeah, the game today. I think it's fair to say. I think we should be 2-0 up at halftime. With the chance I just mentioned for Nossa at the back post, where I will expect him to score in most of the situations he get like that. And I think also just the rhythm we had in the game should have given us an even better advantage. But that's definitely also something we have to work on. We cannot expect to score on all of our chances, but we can expect to create more. And there's been some games in this season where we haven't created enough. And then we rely on that only chance to decide the game. And that's not enough. We cannot do that. We have to create a game where we at least get 5 to 8 chances per game to decide it, because then of course the chance of succeeding is much higher. So there's parts about the offensive game and defensive game. There's a lot of things we have to go through. So we put on an even more competitive team on the pitch for next season. And of course also knowing exactly who's here and who's not.
I have 2 more questions, Coach. You said in April or May you will see your kind of football.
Yeah.
When I say it in a bit harsh way, I would say you see it for 45 to 60 minutes and in 30 minutes not. I know there is an opponent on the pitch, but you cannot be satisfied that you see your system and how the players handle it only in parts of the game. Is that the only thing where you say we have to work to get full 90?
100%, because there's been many games where we have been good for 50-60%, like you say, take first half in away against Lask, where I think the first 25 minutes were really some of our best stuff. The home game against them out here was really some of our best stuff, and then the next game for some reason has not been on the same level, and that's of course the things we have to look at. So also when I'm answering your questions here, you can hear that a lot of this is on us, because with all due respect to all the other teams that we've played against, I've never had the feeling any of the games that we've been outplayed, and we had no solutions to what happens out there. So a lot of it is on us, where we simply have to be better. And this should not sound like criticism to the players, because they have done everything in these last couple of months. But when we start to now also create that more clear identity of how we want to go forward and how we want to play, then we can also start to recruit much more clear in terms of players saying, no, it's a clear no, he will never make it the way that we play. And we can say much more clear, yes, he will make it in the way that we play. That gives us an advantage also for next season.
And my final question is, Coach, about you personally. You're here now for a bit more than over half a year.
Yeah.
How would you summarize your first half year in Vienna? What are the points where you said, I improve as a coach? A famous German coach said, I'm learning from every game. What are your learnings from your time here with SV Ried and in the Austrian Bundesliga?
Yeah, the more pitch-specific learnings is, of course, now we know much better about the Austrian league. Now we know the challenges that's ahead of us that we have to solve better in some ways. Then I know about the potential that we have here as a club, and I cannot say enough time that there's a huge potential. We just have to unfold it. But of course, I'm also realistic that it never happens over time. And then I've obviously learned that was something I knew before I stepped in here, that this was a club that was, if you call it like that, in crisis. I hate the word, because if you're in crisis, then you just have to do a little bit better in many areas of the game, and don't just accept that people call it like that. But it was a club where or team at least, where they were struggling, and we knew that it was a heavy task to start with already. And it also showed that it was difficult. We have had many difficult games, but fortunately also the good ones that create that motivation and positivity for the start of the next season that we can do, because we have proved that we can do it, and therefore the consistency word is the most important one for me. But I think we have tried a lot. I've learned a lot. I try to stay as calm and reflected as possible, and try also to protect this group of players a little bit, so I don't bring too many emotions from outside into them, but take care of the environment and the things that we do together every single day, because there will always be a lot of expectations, but my job is to try to make it stay away and only focus on the group that we have internally and make them better. And that's been in good and bad times here in this time where we have played for full stadiums, we have played for stadiums without fans. I think we have more or less tried everything, so we are prepared.
5.5 months with a lot of experience. Huh?
That's the business in football, and sometimes I can feel that also, not necessarily you, but some of you other guys ask me this question: isn't it crazy? But it's how football works, and it is a little bit crazy, and there's so many emotions and so much passion around the club. But when you are in charge of something, it's about protecting the group that you work with, and protecting especially the environment that you work with every day. And I don't see this as much more crazy than some of the other places that I've been. So at some point it probably makes me look like I'm 65, but I'm 37, I think.
Dankeschön. Bitte nochmal auf die andere Seite. Rainer Partnerschlager, Kronenzeitung. Before you go to the World Cup.
Coach, preseason starts June 18th. You said you don't really know which players will be available. Do we expect a squad overhaul?
From start of next season?
Yeah. What do you expect now? Do you fear a lot of changes in the squad? Are you completely satisfied with the squad you have?
No, because to fear that will be the wrong mindset to have. We have an obligation to develop players that can also take steps to the next level and higher level than here. That's how business in football works. So I'll be more scared if we had absolutely no players that other clubs will be interested in. Then we will be in a bad position. Fortunately, we are, and it also means that there will probably not be too much summertime for some of us, because we have to prepare and we have to make sure that with the money that we get in, we have to spend them wisely. We have to find the right fits for the way that we play now. We have some things that we can show both players from outside and internally also how we play and how we want it to look like in our best ways. So it creates a better working environment for us to find the right fits. Of course, there will be someone who's leaving, but hopefully there will also be someone who stays.
But which amount is okay of players to leave the club? Because Markus Katzer said there's no squad overhaul. Didn't expect that. Just a particular fit-in improvements, but you have a big squad already. And everyone is discussing about the quality of the squad. Is it good enough going for more, or is it not good enough?
Yeah, I think it's difficult to say where exactly, because one thing we're also not in control of is how many offers will there come on our players. At the moment, we don't know. We have someone where we can probably expect that something will happen, but we're not in charge of that. We have highlighted some main targets for us and some main positions for us, and that's going on behind the doors and not in this room. So we can be well prepared and ready from day one, because it's going to be an important preseason also to prepare for a busy start of the season. Now we know when the qualification round starts and how many games we hope that we were going to play. So it's going to be busy. So we cannot afford to just have players arriving at the end of August. We need to do a lot of business the next couple of weeks.
Dankeschön. Ich hoffe, es ist alles beantwortet. Ich darf mich wirklich bei euch wie immer für die Zusammenarbeit am Ende der Saison bedanken. Also by the coach. Thanks for the very good and professional cooperation with the media issues. And we will see maybe on 18th of June when we start training again. Some will be at the World Cup.
Some will be at the World Cup.
We have to work in.
And to you guys, all the best and have a wonderful summer. And I think we all wish Austria the best for the World Cup. Okay? Enjoy.
Dankeschön.